Hi, this is David, your host. You're listening to the last podcast where the first shall be last and the last shall be first. If this is your first time listening, welcome. I hope you find great tips, ideas that will help benefit you one way or another. If you're returning, thank you for returning and welcome back. I hope you continue to find tips and ideas and value that will help shape your life for the better. Today, I wanted to just give a quick talk because I'm driving home. And this talk is something that I'm dealing with. It's watching the will to live. Now, I don't know if any of you follow my blog. It basically talked at one point about my wife who is going through a big ordeal fighting for her life. I've watched my sister fight for her life, and that was an ordeal. I went and stayed for a whole year with my sister, and she had ovarian cancer, and she lost that battle. I came home, and my wife got sick, and she had heart problems, and she's been having those problems for about almost 3 years now. Well, a whole lot longer than that, but she had her LVAD, which is a left ventricular assist device, for about 2 years and I would say 9 months. And 2 years and 9 months, July would have been her anniversary for her third birthday as an LVAD recipient. Well, my wife has been in the hospital for 84 days now, and she almost lost that battle last night. And she received some type of infection in the blood, and it looks like she's also may develop some type of pneumonia in both lungs. And she's fighting. She's a fighter. That's what she does. She fights. But I've never seen anybody in my entire life display the will to live. And I know now the will to live is extremely strong. And, you know, there are so many people, myself included, who take life for granted at times. And not every day, but at times. We take life for granted. And life is short. Life is just a second for God, or no time really. And when it comes to time for God, I'm quite sure that time is completely different than the time we have and we deem. That time is completely different for us, in contrast to God's time. You know, we want things right away or whatever the case may be, but his time is completely different. What might feel like years to us might be hours or days to him. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I'm not an astrologer. I'm not anybody who knows anything about that stuff. All I know is I watch people pass away, and I watch people who have the will to live that defy all odds and understanding. And I've watched my wife come close to death 4 times. I mean, 4 major times, on the brink of it. Last night, for instance, and this morning, she almost lost that battle. But she's stable now again, and she is fighting for her life. She has the will to live. She has the will to keep fighting for another day, and doing it for not only her kids, but her grandchildren. She wants to show the tenacity of one's ability to keep on fighting to live for another day. That's my wife. I don't know if you thought I was going to come out with some deep analytical conversation, but I'm not. This is something that's dear to me. It's something that I'm going through. It's something that my family's going through. It's something that all the kids are dealing with. And guess what? It's a roller coaster ride, especially 80 something days in the hospital. And it's not just this time. October, November, December, she was in the hospital for 2 weeks in 1 month, 3 weeks for the next month. Now, our doctor, one of the doctors even told us there's a possibility she may never ever come home. She may always be in an institution because she's at that level of sickness and care. She requires quality, acute care. So it's kind of sad because when you think about it, you always come home and you always go into the room or wherever she at and you have a conversation, and that's something that you can't do now unless you go to the hospital. And it becomes, the conversation becomes about quality of life. What would she want? What would you want? But in reality, it's not about us. Yeah, the selfish part of us wants to see her live on and be there, even whether it's, in a hospital bed and not able to do anything but lie there. That selfish part of us is enough to say, okay, we still got her. But there's another part, the unselfish part of us, who say, hey, baby, what do you want? What quality of life would you like to have? And we have to respect that answer that they give us. We may not like it. We may not want to hear it. But in the end, their wishes trump everything that we desire. I often wonder, I already know what my wife would say. She says, save my life by any means necessary. She was asked this question about 5 times so far. We were asked this question and we were given an opportunity to shut the machine off or have her go through a particular intriguing and tricky operation that was rarely performed before, and if I'm correct, I believe we heard there was a 10% chance that she would live, and she came out. She survived the operation, but she ran into one complication after another. Being that she has her immune system is severely compromised, she's susceptible to get anything. And, the slight bug for us that we can ward off is dangerous and fatal for her. So there's no right answer, no wrong answer. I wouldn't want her to suffer. She has a lot of pain, constantly in pain when she is not sedated. So you ask yourself, how long will she be in that pain? Since you don't want her in that pain, and they try to make them comfortable, they have to sedate them so they don't feel the pain. But what kind of life is that? And people don't look at how long she's going to be sedated. I mean, months go by before you know it. It seems like it's, for certain people, it seems like it might be just a couple of days. And that's where that time is. Life gets away from you. You get busy by going to work, back and forth, dealing with your own family. And I'm talking about the kids. They forget about how much time she's sedated and she's in there. But I watch it every day. I wonder if she's able to be coherent enough, what would she say? hey, look, I've had enough. I would fight, but this is not the quality of life that I want to live. And for me, I've actually heard her say that. I've heard her say, before she got sick, she says, something, there's times where I feel that this is no quality of life. No one should have to live their life, because she's got to walk around with those batteries, and at any time the device can actually malfunction. And for her, it malfunctioned twice. I'm the one who saved her life the first time, because I read the book from cover to cover. I knew exactly what to do. And then the second time, I called them because it was a particular message that says malfunction, and I'm saying, or the drive line was bad, and I'm saying to myself, well, I don't know how to deal with the drive line because that's connected to the heart, but I'm gonna change the device and see if that works. But before I do, they want me to wait until I get a call to see what other steps need to be performed first. I was waiting. I had the cable ready, and at the bottom line, they said, change out the device, and that was it. Boom. I changed out the device for the second time, and everything went away. Of course, she had her problems. She's taking Lasix because she's building up fluid, and that's when you have CHF, which is congested heart failure, that is part of the side effects. Fluid buildup in the lungs, and, it makes it hard for them to breathe. And she has diabetes type 2. She has a severe case of neuropathy. She has a lot of stuff going on. And right now, she's trying to fight through it all. I'm not one to tell anybody to give up. But after the poking and prodding and all the sores and all the pain that she's endured, part of me don't want to see her endure it no more. I mean, she could barely talk right now because she has to stay sedated. So she's in between a rock and a hard place. She stays sedated. Her blood pressure constantly goes down, and then if her blood pressure cannot go back up, they have to use these medicines to help the blood pressure stay above a certain point. Now, here's the problem with that. The longer they use the medicines to keep the blood pressure from staying up and preventing her from going into shock, the side effects of these medicines is loss of limbs and toes, fingers, hands, maybe even legs. She's still damned if you do or damned if you don't. I know she doesn't want that at all. I already know that. And I don't believe the family would let that. I don't think the family will let it get that far. But I think it would become that far or be that far without them taking a look at time. Because time is a factor. Like I said a little while ago, life gets in the way. So if you're in the hospital and you're not there every day with her, time gets away. You get busy with life because, of course, life goes on. So what kind of life or quality of life is that for her? That's just a simple rant that I have. My name is Dave. You're listening to The Last Podcast, where the first shall be last and the last shall be first.